Wilson Morales, Black Film and TV. How's it going?
What's good, man?
Good. So, there are Christmas movies we get, and then there's a movie that's about Christmas time. And this is a movie that, as I watched this, this is a full production. This is not the regular, no disrespect to the other Christmas movies that we get around this time period. You went all out. How did this project come about for you?
Well, it's something I've been working on forever. And my wife came with the idea of turning it into a movie. It was always going to be a Broadway production. And that's when it took off. I went and sat down with Netflix, with Scott Stuber and Nick Nesbitt, and kind of just talk to them about the holidays and what an amazing time it is, and how the Black community and the world community loves it, and how there is not one movie of this scope or scale that has any representation of the world, of people of color. And, they paused and said, "You're right. It's time we do something about that." And and that's when everything kind of started. And the idea wasn't to do a film that was a expected holiday film, but to do an epic, big event musical with scope and magic and wonder, and put us in places that we have never seen us in before. And that's why I'm so excited for the world to see it.
I think about filmmakers and how much latitude and resources they get to make a film, and sometimes they don't always have everything to them.
Sometimes.
When you look at this movie, it's like the scope of it all. From the costumes, the music, the production design. Not all filmmakers can get that. When they want to make a film that's based on budget, studios, and so forth. You were able to get that here. Were there any challenges when you have the resources?
The only challenge is your imagination. You've been taught so long that you got $2, and this film better not come over $2, or we ain't gonna make it. And for someone to say the most profound thing that anyone has ever said to me in this business, it was by Nick Nesbitt, when I was about to start writing Jingle Jangle. He said, "Don't write the budget, write your imagination, and we'll figure out the budget later." Now, my first thought was, I'm looking around for the cameras here, because I swore I had to be on candid camera or getting punked or something. But who says that to an artist? Who says that? Write your imagination. And that's what I did. And the film's budget doubled because they took off the reins and there was no ceiling. And their intention was, Netflix is a global brand. They're in 191 countries and 32 languages. They didn't want something that just played in Philadelphia or Chicago or, the urban market. They wanted something that would work for that market, but would work for the world. And they gave me all the resources, and they spoiled me now, because I'm not going back.
Well, you've done, you're no stranger to doing musicals, but when you put it on film, and then you have to balance the music and the story, and when to put them in and out, was that challenging? You've done it on stage, but now you're putting it on film, which is like...
Wilson, there was nothing in my past career that would lead anyone to believe that this movie was going to have this kind of scope. One of the most telling things is my boy Bootsy texted me when he saw the trailer. He was like, yo, son, you made like a real movie. They gave you like a budget. So it's credit to Netflix, credit to this world brand that they have, that they know that if you give filmmakers a budget to do what other filmmakers that don't look like, that aren't Black filmmakers have had, then what could that thing become? And this is the answer to what it could become. Black Panther was the answer to what it could become. The imagination of Jordan Peele, it was a smaller budgeted film, but his imagination, those reins, that's what it could become. It could become a phenomenon. And that's what we're hoping the same for Jingle Jangle and expecting.
You got your leads. Before we talk about the kids, let's talk about bringing on Forest and Felicia, two obviously powerful individuals, to lead this. Felicia, obviously we know her, we know both their backgrounds, but was it an easy task of, hey, Forrest, I want to do this movie? Felicia, can you read the script?
I sat down. I've known Forrest for 10 years, and we were trying to figure out something to do, and it's never worked. And this one, to really bring this character, this iconic character, Jeronicus Jangle, to life, I needed someone who would ground it and give it humanity, so it wouldn't come across cartoonish or like a caricature. And so there was only one person, Forrest. And so when I sat down with him at dinner in New York, Tribeca, at a vegan place. And first of all, my stomach was rumbling. I wanted a hamburger or some spare ribs or something so bad. It was a vegan place. And Forrest was just enjoying himself eating. I don't know what he was eating, but I didn't recognize anything on that damn menu. But he stopped in the middle of eating and said, "So you want me to play Jeronicus?" And I said, "I don't want you to play it. I need you to play it. Because I need someone I can trust in front of the camera. And I need a big brother who I can lean on behind the camera as well." Because I knew it was a big undertaking. And you needed number one on that call sheet, somebody that would have your back. And I've never been on a set where someone had believed in me with all he had done in his career and gave me that support as number one on the call sheet. And that's what he did. And he set the tone for everybody. If this dude, one of the greatest actors of our generation, is trusting me, then they fall in line too. And that was the spirit of the set.
And then you have Felicia, obviously,
Oh.
the story from the trailer, not to give anything away, but wow.
Well, I mean, Felicia Rashad is royalty. She's the goddess, a goddess. Before we even started the film, Lynn came in the room. She printed out Miss Rashad's picture. She said, "This is the grandmother." And so we just had to wait to get to that point. But she was on our board from the beginning, because when I got a chance to see her on Broadway, I've seen her in many plays, but on Broadway in The Raisin in the Sun, and she came in and grabbed that pot at the end of that play, the one Puffy was in. She came in, grabbed that, and then she looked around on that stage, and then she walked out. I'm like, whoa! It was the most profound moment, and she has so much power and so much nuance and so much charm and wonder just in her looks. So I knew she had to do it, and she exceeded all of my expectations.
Production design is a sight to see, and then there's the music and the kids. So before we get into music, you have your lead girl, and whenever you see these movies with a child as practically the lead, you always read these stories about, oh, there was a long, extensive search. How did you find? Is it Madalen?
Yeah, Madalen Mills.
Madalen Mills. Where did you find it? Did you have one of those long searches?
We did. We searched. We did a casting. We spread the net all across the world, and it took us about 3 months. And we were in trouble because we were 4 months away and we hadn't found her yet. And then we did one more big casting search, and we whittled it down to 10, 15, young girls. And then we flew into New York. We whittled it down to 5. And so I flew in there, brought Forrest in to read with them. And Madalen, it wasn't even a fair fight. It wasn't even close. I mean, she came in there and she wasn't playing Journey. She is Journey. She's not playing a bold, bright, curious, inventive girl. She is bold, bright, curious, and inventive. She is magical. So I feel like we're just introducing somebody to the world that we're going to be seeing for decades and decades to come, because she's a little girl, and she stole my heart. She
The
stole my heart.
costume was just amazing. You know, obviously when you look at other Christmas movies, you don't see that. You know,
Mhm.
these individuals are dressed like, oh, you know, they're royalty. You know, how they go, how they wake up in the morning, how they go to sleep at night. You
Uh-huh.
know, you can't take off as like, oh, they're really well dressed here.
Yeah, you
You know,
see Felicia Rashad come out in that red, you say, okay, 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 this is
you
gonna
know,
be something special.
you know, and then there's the music. You know, obviously the songs. You know, when you're the director of all, you know, you're being pitched the songs. You know, how many songs did it take before you said, okay, that one sounds well. Yes, I'm going to use this one. That ballad works well, and so forth.
Well, Phil Lawrence, who came on board first, my music supervisor, Julia Michaels, introduced me to him, and he wrote all the Bruno Mars songs with Bruno. And so I knew he had a pop sensitivity, but I knew that it was for the world, because Bruno Mars, there's no corner in the world you go to and you're not hearing Uptown Funk Me Up or any of those songs. So he delivered Possible first. And when I heard Possible, I said, okay, okay, I wasn't expecting this. And and then he just then Miles and Miles and Magic Man G and With Love, and they just started rolling in one after another. And usually it takes 5, 10 years to develop a musical. He wrote these songs in about 4 months.
Hmm. You know,
Oh,
before we wrap, you know, where do you go from here once you've been on this type of production where you had all the tools here, you know, now you want this for all your projects. You know, where do you go from here and what do you want to do next?
it's a it's a it's the biggest blessing to be able to create on this kind of this landscape. And I can only continue to expand and broaden, because right now we've kicked the door open, and Ryan Coogler kicked it open with Black Panther, and Jordan Peele with Get Out, and they're just there's a great big world out there, and the canvas now is as broad as your imagination can make it. So for me, it's continuing to expand my mind, to know that cliche as it is film, but anything is possible. Anything is possible. And so thank you, Netflix. You have blessed me and spoiled me.
It's always good talking to you. Obviously, I think I've talked to you for most of your film projects, you know,
Of
so keep
course, from the hotel room for baggage claim, we'd have been all over the place, man.
you are working. I always say, when you're working, I work. You know, so that's what we need, a synergy to continue, so we both can continue to do and spread the word and the love and the talent. So keep working.
Always bring a smile seeing your face and your name that's coming up, and man, continue to do what you do, brother. It's needed.
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.